get this thing rolling again.
I fixed it!
Stay tuned.
This thing worked!
Guys, welcome back to the Mod Garage YouTube channel. We are again working at the truck. We got our heads off, and we actually got the heads resurfaced, decked, and I got a valve job done on them. The heads were warped, and I got a machine shop, BMS Racing. They got my heads back in about a week. So tonight we plan to get these things put back on. Alright guys, we're ready to start this thing up. There was a little mix up with the machine shop. They sent the wrong heads. And it only came to my attention after I had the heads bolted down. So these are my heads. They were 799s, the ones before, but they had dual valve springs on, and I knew I didn't have dual valve springs. These are mine. They have my valves, my springs in. Everything's right. So the push rods were too long on the other ones because the valves were different. So anyway, we're going to be doing a startup here. I got the battery to hook up yet and some coolant to add. Make sure we don't have any fuel leaks, and we'll get to see this thing start. Fuel leak. One line. There we go. Leak. Okay, by this time in the video, I am about put out with this truck because I put this whole thing back together with the heads redone and everything, and took it on a spin down the street, and I noticed immediately that it had not corrected anything. So we still had the misfire, we still had the backfiring, blowing back up through the intake. Whatever the problem was, I could not figure it out. So I made an appointment to get it tuned at CSP down in Westchester. I guess that's where it is. Yeah, down that way somewhere. And Complete Street Performance. Made an appointment there for the end of August, which is past already. This is September. I think it was August 31st dropping it off. But that was a couple weeks that I had to wait, so the truck kind of sat and we weren't really doing anything with it. And Silas, the guy that I work with here, suddenly came up to me one day and he's like, hey, he said, I watched this video of a guy who had the same problem as you did, and he went to clean his fuel injectors. I was like, okay. So I went to watch the video myself, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? This guy here is legit. He's got the same problem I do. I never had the fuel injectors apart. I replaced a couple of them here and there, but I never took them apart to clean them when I had the heads off. So I was like, that's where we're going to head next. And so this next clip is trying to get that figured out. Okay, guys, I got something for you today. This is another thing we're going to try to see if it fixes this misfire. And it's going to be taking these fuel injectors out and cleaning them. So I did replace a couple of them at one point, and I wonder, with the fuel problems we were having in the tank, if some dirt got into the fuel injectors and either they're stuck open or something like that. So we're gonna dig into this and take the fuel rails off, and I got some carbon choke cleaner, fuel injector cleaner, whatever. We're gonna spray through and see if we can get these things firing like they should, and stick some fresh plugs in and see if that fixes it. Guys, I think we found a problem. There's this little filter in the end of the fuel injectors, and I was cleaning them out because I wanted to see what kind of dirt's in them. And number 5 and 7 is the problem cylinders, and those were the ones that had fouled plugs on. Well, they were clean. There was nothing wrong with the filters in those two fuel injectors, and something went through me. I'm like, what about number 3 and 1? Because number 1 and 3 had super good spark plugs. Like, their timing mark was perfect. They were always clean and white. Well, guess what? They didn't have any fuel because of this little filter in the end of the fuel injector. It has all this. I don't know if you can see that, but let me get you in here. This little filter is clear now, or better, but it was black before. All this little black gunk was in that filter. I'm thinking number 1 and 3 did not get enough fuel to run, and so it was leaning out and enriching the fuel map, because number 5 and 7 were spraying good, and so it was pumping more fuel in, and it was fouling those plugs out. So, man, oh man, I think we're on the right track here. So, wow.
This thing works, dude!
Look at this.
I fixed it!
Hey, I just wanted to jump in here quick and tell you all again exactly, just a recap on what this problem actually was. This problem was 2 or 3 fuel injectors that had the screens plugged in the top of the fuel injector, and the dirt came from the tank, and there's kind of a long story there. I don't know if, I think it's just one of them or 2 of my previous videos I talked about fuel system problems, and I had used some caulking around the top of the tank where I'd cut the tank to put my fuel hanger in, and that caulk was not gas proof, and it disintegrated and got into the bottom of the tank and got sucked up with the sump, and actually got through the fuel filter, because the fuel filter was a stainless steel mesh wire one. It was not a paper filter, so it was a bigger one, so dirt could get through it. And I was thinking, you know, buy a fuel filter that has good flow, and it does not work good for dirt. So the dirt got to the little screens, and the screens caught it and plugged 3 of the fuel injectors. And so, yeah, so the fuel map didn't work, because there was only 2/3 of the fuel injectors spraying what they were supposed to. And so they were working double duty to bring the AFRs back down to where they should be for boost, and then that's when it would foul plugs out, because it was just way too much fuel in the map. So, lesson learned. An engine needs spark, and it needs fuel. And if you have a misfire, definitely number 1, check spark. And I did do that. I went to great pains to check to make sure spark, but it wasn't working. And I should have known instantly that as bad as this problem is, it must be fuel. So check the fuel, check your fuel filters, check especially your fuel injector screens on the top. And to bring these up to date, I did put a bigger fuel pump in. The sump got messed up, and I was not sure about the 450 Walbro actually being okay yet, so I put a Walbro 525 in, which is the Hellcat fuel pump, and a big sump screen, and I actually raised it up off the bottom of the tank, and also put a paper filter in, put a whole different filter in. This one's from Jegs. It's like 12 inches long, and it's a paper filter. I think I forget the micron, but it's a very fine paper filter, and hopefully that should take care of the dirt issues, the dirt problems getting to the fuel injectors. Filter that out. Guys, I bet you did not see this coming. Ah, yeah. Small ones first. These are the fronts. These are the fronts. Check that out. That's for the front. And then we got some more for the back. Gotta get the right one here. This is the left. Ooh. There we go. Ooh. Oh. Oh my goodness, guys. That looks amazing. That looks absolutely amazing. Perfect. It's exactly what I was envisioning. Actually, I'm not disappointed at all. Wow. It matches the old school look just enough. Well guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will catch you in the next Turbo C10 video. Have a great night.